We celebrate all holidays together. If you look down my page, I hate to say this, but it's one of the things that I want y'all to look at. Because when she say about me spending money, you'll see the gifts being bought. You'll see the diamond necklaces and chains being bought when she started the league. Since she wanted to fabricate and say, oh, he never wanted me to start the league. You see that.
The hip-hop world was not ready for what happened that night. There were no hints, no countdowns, and no dramatic build-up. It was late, the kind of hour when people scroll through their phones without thinking, half awake and ready to sleep. Some were lying in bed. Others were sitting on couches with the TV playing in the background. Most were just killing time, not expecting anything special. Then, all at once, a notification flashed across thousands of screens. Papoose is live on Instagram. First, nobody thought much of it. Artists go live all the time. Sometimes they talk about new music. Sometimes they joke with fans. Sometimes they just hang out and answer random questions. It usually isn't a big deal. But the moment people opened the stream, they felt it. This wasn't casual. This wasn't fun. This wasn't normal. Papoose didn't look like someone who had come online to laugh or promote a song. He looked worn down, like he had been carrying a heavy weight for a long time, and finally reached the point where he couldn't keep holding it. His eyes were tired and red. His face was stiff, tight with emotion. He didn't smile. He didn't greet anyone. He didn't even look away from the camera. He just stared. The room around him was silent. No music playing in the background. No friends talking off camera. No movement. Just him sitting there breathing slowly, like he was trying to steady himself before stepping off a cliff. For a few moments he didn't say a single word. The comments began pouring in. Yo, what's going on? Pap, you okay? This feels serious. More and more people joined. The number of viewers climbed. The chat moved so fast it was hard to read. Finally he spoke. I've been quiet for a long time, he said. His voice was calm, but it wasn't relaxed. There was tension in every word. I tried to keep things private. I tried to protect my family. I tried to protect myself. But the truth doesn't stay hidden forever. That sentence alone made people sit up straighter. Something about the way he said it felt final, like a door closing behind him. He paused for a second, took a breath, and looked straight into the camera again. Nobody knew what was coming next, but everyone could feel it. This wasn't about a rumor or a small disagreement. This wasn't about a music industry issue or internet drama. This was personal. This was deep. Then he started talking about the whispers. He said for a long time he had been hearing things. Quiet rumors passed between people. Stories that never made headlines but somehow kept finding their way back to him. Conversations that stopped when he walked into a room. Messages that were never sent directly to him but always seemed to reach his ears. The name that kept coming up was Remy Ma. And tied to that name was another one that made the story even heavier. 50 Cent. First he said he brushed it off. He told himself people talk. He told himself fame brings rumors. He told himself not to let outside voices mess with his home, his relationship, or his peace of mind. But over time he claimed things began to feel strange. Little moments didn't match up. Stories changed when he asked questions. Details didn't line up the way they used to. He said it felt like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces kept shifting every time he touched them. And then a thought entered his mind that he didn't want to have. His daughter, Reminisce Mackenzie. He said her name slowly, like it carried the weight of his entire life. He talked about how he had loved her from the moment she was born, how he had held her, protected her, and stood by her in every way a father should. He said he taught her, guided her, and built his world around her happiness. She was my heart, he said. She was my pride. She was my everything. But once the doubts began, he couldn't make them go away. He said the idea alone made him feel sick. The thought that something so pure, so important could be wrapped in a lie. For a long time he tried to ignore it. He said he didn't want to be the kind of person who questioned something like that. He didn't want to open a door that could never be closed again. He described lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying old moments in his head, conversations, memories, events that suddenly felt different when viewed through a new lens. He said he argued with himself. Don't think like this. Don't go there. Leave it alone. But the feeling didn't leave him. It grew. Eventually, he said, he reached a point where he needed an answer, even if the answer destroyed him. So he made a choice he never thought he would make. He got a DNA test. Not publicly, not with cameras, not with lawyers or announcements. Quietly, privately. He said he did it away from the internet, away from the media, away from almost everyone he knew. He didn't want opinions. He didn't want noise. He just wanted the truth. He described the day the results came back. He said his hands were shaking when he opened the envelope. He said his heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. He said part of him hoped he had been wrong, that he would laugh at himself for ever doubting something so important. But what he read, according to him, changed his life. He said the test showed that Remy McKenzie was not biologically his daughter. The comment section exploded. People started typing faster than they could think. No way. That's impossible. This has to be fake. Papoose stopped talking for a moment. He swallowed, looked down, then back up at the camera. Then he said the name that made the entire internet freeze. 50 Cent. He claimed the results pointed to him as the biological father. For a few seconds it felt like the world stood still. Not because the chat stopped moving, but because people didn't know how to react anymore. The story had crossed into a level that felt unreal, like something out of a movie. Papoose's voice changed. It wasn't just controlled anger anymore. It was hurt. "Remy," he said, staring into the camera, "you let me live a life that wasn't real. You let me believe something that wasn't true." He said he felt betrayed in a way he couldn't even explain. Not just as a partner, but as a father. He talked about trust. About how trust is something you build day by day, year by year, through honesty and shared life. And how once it's broken, it doesn't just crack. It shatters. He said every memory now felt different. Every birthday, every school moment, every time he stood up for her, thinking he was standing up as her biological father, not because he loved her any less, but because the truth had been hidden from him. This wasn't a mistake, he said. This was a choice. This was years of letting me believe a story that wasn't real. Then he said something that took the situation even further. He said he was preparing to take the matter to court. He claimed he planned to file a lawsuit for paternity fraud against Remy Ma. He said he wanted everything out in the open, not just for himself, but for everyone to see. He said he wasn't looking for revenge. He said he wanted responsibility. He wanted answers. He wanted the truth written down, not whispered in hallways or passed around in group chats. He said the court would see the DNA test, the messages, the timeline, the details that, according to him, showed how long this had been hidden. He said he refused to let this become just another internet joke or gossip headline. When he finally ended the live, he didn't thank anyone for watching. He didn't say goodbye. He just stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then it went dark. And that's when everything truly began. Within minutes, the video was everywhere. Twitter timelines filled up. TikTok clips popped up with dramatic music in the background. YouTube channels went live to break it down in real time. Instagram pages reposted it with bold captions and question marks. Even people who hadn't seen the full stream were already arguing about it. Some fans jumped in to defend Remy Ma. They said there was no proof. They said emotions were high. They said nothing should be believed until it was confirmed in court. Others stood behind Papoose, saying no man would go public with something like this unless he believed it deeply. And then, above all the noise, one name kept trending: 50 Cent. People started digging through old interviews, old pictures, old performances. Every moment he and Remy Ma had ever shared suddenly felt suspicious to some viewers. Did we miss something back then? Was this always there? How long could something like this stay hidden? Podcasts rushed to record emergency episodes. TikTok creators slowed the video down, analyzing Papoose's voice, his eyes, his body language. YouTubers played clips on repeat, pausing every few seconds to give their opinions. But in the middle of all this chaos, there was one part of the story that made many people stop and think. The child. Remy McKenzie. While millions of adults argued online, while strangers picked sides, while headlines were written and rewritten, there was a little girl at the center of it all who never chose to be part of any of this. Papoose spoke about that too. He said the hardest part wasn't just what happened to him. It was knowing that her life could be shaped by something she had no control over. He said his love for her didn't change. But he also said that knowing the truth mattered. especially for her future. He said everyone deserves to know where they come from, even if the answer is painful. As days passed, the story didn't fade. It grew. People started saying lawyers were involved. Some claimed court papers were being prepared. Others said meetings were happening behind closed doors. Every so-called insider seemed to have a new detail. One day it was about text messages. The next day it was about emails. Then it was about private conversations and hidden timelines. The line between fact and rumor became harder to see. What was clear was this: the situation had gone far beyond a personal family issue. It had become a public event. Artists connected to any of the names involved were suddenly asked questions in interviews. Friends and former collaborators were pulled into discussions they never expected to be part of. Some fans said the internet had gone too far. They argued that this should have stayed private, away from millions of strangers. Others said once it was shared online, it became a public conversation. Papoose, according to reports, didn't step back. He stood by what he said. He repeated that he wanted everything out in the open, no matter how uncomfortable it made people. He talked about feeling like his life had been split in two, a before and an after. He described sleepless nights, long walks, silent moments where he tried to make sense of how everything he believed could change so suddenly. For Remy, the pressure was just as heavy. Every post she made, every picture she shared, every moment of silence was analyzed. Some people demanded a response. Others said she deserved space. And 50 Cent remained a central figure in every conversation. Was he involved? Did he know? Was this all a misunderstanding? Every theory found a crowd willing to believe it. As weeks went by, the story became part of everyday internet talk. People who didn't even follow hip-hop knew the names. They knew the claims. They knew the drama. But beneath the viral videos and trending hashtags, there was something real. A man dealing with heartbreak. A woman facing public judgment. A child growing up in the middle of a storm she didn't create. Papoose reportedly said that fame and money don't protect you from pain. He said when trust is broken at this level, it leaves a mark that never fully disappears. He talked about how love should be built on honesty, not silence. How raising a child should be about truth, not secrets. Some people praised him for speaking out. Others criticized him for making it public. The internet couldn't agree. And maybe that's why the story stayed alive. Everyone saw it through their own experiences, their own past, their own ideas about loyalty, family, and betrayal. For some, it was just another celebrity story. For others, it felt personal. As the idea of a courtroom battle loomed, people imagined what might come out if everything really went to trial. Private messages, personal conversations, moments that were never meant to be shared with the world. The thought alone kept the discussion going. News outlets speculated about careers, reputations, and how this could change the way people saw everyone involved. But no matter how big the headlines became, one thing stayed clear. This wasn't just about fame. It was about family. It was about trust. It was about a little girl whose name became known to millions of people she would never meet. In the end, nobody outside those involved truly knows what happened behind closed doors. People only know what they've seen in clips, what they've read online, and what they've been told by others. But one thing is certain: